Welcome to UCHELS for today's media luncheon. Our players are on the far left, Matt Judon, head coach Matt Mitchell in the middle, and Kirk Spencer on the right. Coach, if you could talk about last week's win over Ohio Dominican, and then we'll move on to Ferris State.
All right, appreciate everybody being here. Big road win for our team. I thought we had great approach throughout the course of the week of practice. We had a great approach on our travel down there. Our guys did a great job and everything leading up to the game. I honestly believe that us being in a tight ball game with Southwest Baptist into the fourth quarter probably helped us get the win down at Ohio Dominican. I think there's a lot of things that we could coach off of after that first victory, coach our kids pretty hard, and they responded extremely well to that coaching, and we saw improvement from week 1 to week 2 in everything, practice, the travel, everything that we did. So a lot of respect for Ohio Dominican. Bill Conley does a great job down there. We had a new quarterback. I thought defensively we played extremely well. When you look back upon the tape, and I felt like this during the game, we missed very few tackles. I think we missed less than 5 tackles. Our defense was keeping the ball in front of them. We gave up not a whole lot of big plays, which was a contrast as opposed to the last couple of years. I think our longest play we gave up was 33 yards, and it was kind of a broken play where he threw back across his body. So we did a great job not giving up a lot of big plays. We had tremendous pursuit and effort to the ball. Our tackling was unbelievable, really, just how we got to the ball and got guys down, and they have some good players. Obviously, everybody can see that the key to the game was the turnovers in the second half. We forced 4 turnovers in the second half defensively. Both picks, we were hitting the quarterback when he was throwing the ball. Joe Moran put a good shot on the quarterback on Devin McKissick's pick, and then Matt Judon was in on some pressure on the quarterback on a sprint out pass, and Marquez Coleman picked off the second ball. And then both the fumbles were a result of really hard contact. The last fumble that we got that kind of sealed the win, Trey Walton came in and saw the guy in half and did that. But when you look back upon the tape, there was some really good football happening between ODU's offense and our defense. I think Des Stewart is an incredible wide receiver. He's got my vote for being a first-team all-conference wide receiver, and he made a couple plays in some confined space that were just it was hard to have better coverage. So a couple of the touchdowns they had, I thought we were right there, and it was a good football team making some plays. Offensively, the first half we were moving the ball well. Statistically, we played well the first half, had some explosive plays, and I felt like the first half, the only time things didn't come together on a drive, we kind of stopped ourselves. Either was a procedural penalty or we kind of had a missed assignment. Second half, we probably didn't execute as well as we need to offensively. For most of the third quarter, we just weren't really playing as well as we could have. But when we needed it the most, we were down by 7, and we came through with an 11-play drive to get the touchdown against one of the top defenses in our league. So I think Kirk Spencer, sitting here to my left, played an excellent ball game, the kind of ball game you need out of a senior. When Martavius Carter went down, we had to shift him out of a wide receiver role, put him a little bit more back, and I thought with the things that he did and the things that Terrell Dorsey did really helped us. You look at our rushing statistics, they were greatly improved from last year, and really we ran the ball pretty effectively. It gets a little bit, when you just look at the rushing yardage, we had some bad quarterback center exchanges. We had a dropped reverse, and they had a sack in there. So when you take some of those negative yardage plays out that were really a part of the rushing game, we ran the ball pretty effectively, especially in the first half. But we came through when we needed to. I still think we can be better offensively. I think we left some things out there offensively. We didn't always execute. Bart missed a couple throws. We dropped a couple balls. We didn't block as well as we needed to, both inside and on the perimeter. And I think all of our offensive guys know that we can continue to improve and play better. Special teams, the kickoff coverage was great, and obviously one of the bigger plays of the game, we did a good job coming down. They had a transfer return guy from Akron, and Joe Robbins and Justice Wright, 2 of our receivers, really smacked him good and got the ball on the ground, and that was obviously a huge difference to create that turnover on the kickoff team. And our Matt Williams did a good job at punt return. There were a lot of positives. Obviously, the block punt, again, we had a missed assignment. So that's on me. That's on the kid that was at the point of attack, which should have never happened. We had a block punt, which put us in a hole. But I would say, as opposed to last year, we were able to kind of fight back from that and figure out a way to overcome that moving forward. So it was a back and forth ball game. It was a very one of those football games where you need resilient kids, resilient coaches, and we've been talking a lot about grit throughout the course of the summer and preseason camp, and I've mentioned this in other areas of the media. I think we showed a lot of grit, and we were on the sidelines. We never had any lack of confidence or self-doubt. That was at times an issue last year early in the season. I think we were all very confident, very resilient. We kept playing, and got a tough road win in the GLIAC, and obviously ODU has done a lot in years past, and I think they're a good football team. I think their defense is going to continue to be good, and I was extremely impressed by the quarterback. He hurt us, with his feet, and they threw a lot of stuff at us offensively, and we were able to fight through that. So it's back-to-back weeks where our defense has been able to affect the quarterback with some pressure. As I mentioned before, we've had we got the 2 picks were off of pressure, and we've been putting the quarterback on the ground quite a bit in the past couple weeks. We've been getting a lot of pressure. That's both out of our defensive line and also our linebackers. So, I think that's obviously going to be key here moving forward for every game that we can continue to do that. So, moving forward to Ferris, obviously the win over ODU puts us at 1-0 in the league, and we're just going to have to try to find a way to try to get 2-0 in the GLIAC. We have one of the better teams, if not the best team, coming in here on Saturday night. Should be an awesome atmosphere. We're talking about 2 institutions that are very close to each other, have a long history, a long rivalry, and everybody knows here in recent history, the past 2 or 3 years, they've done a great job with their program. Tony Nese has done a good job resurrecting and putting some energy and some life in Ferris State football. So it'll be a tough challenge for us. Have a lot of respect for the players and the coaches in their program. They have a lot of senior players that are playmakers, on the offensive side of the ball. Everybody knows, Jason Vanderlaan, who's the returning Harlan Hill Award winner. He's very difficult to defend. Probably the previous seasons, his freshman, sophomore year, he really hurt us on the ground. I thought last year until the end of the game, we did an okay job kind of bottling him up, and we committed a lot to stopping him in the run, and he really burned us over the top. And he's really improved as a passer and has really kind of mastered everything within their offense. They get Jake Lampman back, who they missed last year, most of the year last year. He played against us, but he got a medical red shirt. He's a senior. They got some upper class players on offense that are good. Same thing with their defense. Their 2 inside guys, Garrett Woods and Justin Zimmer, are both seniors. Are experienced football players that have played a lot of snaps in the GLIAC. So they've got a lot of experience. They obviously will have confidence based on the last couple years and how they played, and it's going to be an extremely big challenge for us. So I think for us, there'll be a lot of stuff out there about the rivalry, and be a lot of stuff out there about the impact that this will have on rankings, and a lot of stuff that probably our guys really don't care much about, or hope they don't care much about. For us, we just got to focus on Grand Valley football and attempt to try to play Grand Valley football. And I thought we made improvements from week 1 to week 2 playing Grand Valley football. We were a team on Saturday, and we traveled like a team. We dressed like a team. We looked like a team. We played a team sport, and we looked like a team on Saturday. And so that's my concern right now is our team and Grand Valley State, and that'll be our focus heading into the game this week of preparation. Questions?
Matt, I guess it's pick your poison in trying to stop Jason Vanderlaan. Can you talk a little bit about the best guess that you'll have to try and stop him?
Well, I tell you, he's as I said, I don't know if you're going to stop him. Watching the tape, we've obviously watched a lot of tape. Nobody really stopped him in Division II last year. It's basically you're hoping to try to contain him, and try to keep the ball in front of us as much as you can. I think special teams and average starting field position are going to play into that. They get short fields. We know that their coaching staff is aggressive. They'll go for it on 4th downs, things like that. So you almost get across the 50 and immediately turns into 4-down territory for their offense. That makes things challenging too, to try to attempt to stop that offense within the span of 4 downs. So I don't know if we're going to stop him, and I think we need to be aware of that. If we overcommit people to the box and overcommit things at times, then you're going to be vulnerable in other areas, and they know that, and they know how to exploit that. So, these are I think you've got a couple coaching staffs here that understand the strengths and weaknesses of things. There's going to be a little bit of cat and mouse going on from a strategy standpoint, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to them, the blocking, throwing, catching. And for us, it's about getting off blocks, running to the football, and tackling. You know, a lot of those fundamentals. And I think we've been really good on defense here the first couple weeks of pursuit angles and leveraging the football and tackling. And as you would expect with an experienced defense, the number of guys we have coming back, we should be good at that.
Matt Judon, if you could address the same thing with Vanderlaan. You know, you guys have been chasing him around for the last few years. What makes him so tough, and do you have any ideas on how you guys can stop him?
He's just big, strong, and physical. He's a smart football player, and he does a good job studying defenses, opposing defenses, and they do a good job of preparing. So we just got to keep the ball in front of us and limit explosive plays and tackle them. That's one thing we have to do. We had him in the backfield a couple of times last year, and we didn't finish the play, and it got out, and it ended up being a big game for them. So just limit the explosive plays and play within ourselves, and we know we can stop them. So that's what we got to go out there and prove.
For Coach Mitch, SBU brought in Trent Edwards a couple weeks ago, and he gave you guys fits. But now looking back, do you think that might have been a blessing in disguise going against a similar quarterback with Ferris this week?
Yeah, well, I tell you the common theme the first couple games, when you look at the leading rusher too from Ohio Dominican, and some of that may have been due to an injury to Brandon Schoen, but the leading rusher for Ohio Dominican was their quarterback also. So again, I hope these experiences the first couple weeks. Ohio Dominican ran a lot of quarterback runs. Some of them were straight up design quarterback runs, and some of them had a read element. You know, hopefully, it's a good point. You know, these past couple weeks, we've seen some good athletes at quarterback that have run the ball a little bit on us, and hopefully we can look at that from a schematic standpoint, from a player execution standpoint, and might make us a little bit better moving forward as we face, you know, prolific runner like Jason Vanderlaan.
For Matt and Kirk here, you know, last year you guys started off 2 real close games, and you come out the other side 0-2. This year, 2 close games again, but you're 2-0. What does that do for you guys in the locker room as a confidence standpoint?
Well, it helps us build confidence. Of course, it just helps us. It just shows us that if we play for 4 quarters, that we can actually come out and win the game. And it just goes into the next game, just keeps having us push each other and lean on each other more.
Yeah, kind of what Kirk said. Just builds confidence and continues to build confidence, and we know we can do it. So we just got to go out there and prove it.
Vanderlaan quite a bit so far. I'm sure he'd be one of the first to tell you that he doesn't do it alone. You mentioned Sanders and Lampman. What are the personnel groups on that offense have you noticed over the last couple of years that have really contributed heavily to what Ferris is able to do offensively? Well,
yeah, I mean, they're balanced. That's the hard part. They got a couple bigger receivers outside, you know, with Sanders and Lampman, you know, and that can really stretch you down the field. And then I think the place they've probably been the best has been at their slot receiver spot. You know, Lockett had a lot of big explosive plays against Northwood last week and Aguars, and if I'm mispronouncing, I apologize, but they've got some guys that are 5'8", 5'9" that can really, really hurt you, and they also are really good at cut blocks on the perimeter, and they get you down and go. So, you know, I think that the thing we're still trying to get a feel on is a little bit of their running backs. You know, we've seen Jahan Brown. He played last year and played in the GLIAC, and they've got a freshman that also got some reps and some touches, you know, against Northwood too, and you know, try to get a feel for their backs. But you know, besides you know, Jason Vanderlaan at the quarterback position, they have a lot of balance at wide receiver. It's not like they just have one guy to the boundary that's good or one guy to the field. Their outside guys and their slot guys are all pretty balanced, and they keep you on your toes because you can't really roll things to one guy or roll things up to the field or the boundary based on the multiplicity that they have at those positions.
Okay, so talk about the Laker receivers coming into this year. You had a couple of guys in Bean and Williams and Spencer using the pass game quite a bit that have gotten some reps but maybe hadn't had lead roles in the passing game. Seems like so far, at least statistically, you've gotten a lot of output. How are they coming along on their intangibles as well? I know you talk a lot about downfield blocking to spring big plays. How are they doing with that, their ability to make reads, things of that nature?
Yeah, well, I think the 2 guys have really stepped up from 14 to 15 are Matt Williams and Brandon Bean. I mean, Brandon I think had 120-some yards receiving, and he can catch the ball in front of you and advance it, but he also caught a nice post ball down the field. And Matt Williams has got a great feel for spacing and timing, and caught some balls. So those have definitely been kind of our, two go-to guys. And Erston Smith had a good first game. I don't think Erston played as well as he could have, last week. And then, Jamie Potts, I think you'll see his role continue to increase. He just joined the team, the Tuesday before the Ohio Dominican game, and was kind of get back into form. And our thing the whole time has been about earning it. And I'm not just going to throw Potts out there because Potts played in 2014. This is 15. He's got to go out and he's got to earn his touches and earn his reps. And he got a little bit dinged up on practice last week, and he just hadn't earned the right to go out there and get the ball thrown at him a ton of times, and he understands that. So I wasn't going to make last week's game about Jamie and him coming back. It was more about our team, and I certainly think that Jamie Potts has proven that he can have a role. And I would anticipate, I don't know, but knowing the type of kid he is, a competitor, I think he'll have a good week of practice, and I think you'll see his role increase too. And that'll help Bart Williams, with having Brandon Bean and Matt Williams, and get Jamie Potts in that mix, and get some other guys out there. And you throw a Kirk Spencer out there once in a while, and Justice Wright had some plays and is doing a good job blocking. Joe Robbins playing great on special teams. So there's some guys out there, that can kind of offset things where I felt like in the past few years we just had Potts. We just kind of had Potts in 13 and 14. I think we're able to distribute the field a little bit more. You're seeing Bean to the field and Williams to the boundary, and that's helping Bart Williams. That's helping him in his progression.
Okay, thanks, Coach, and that will take care of today's media luncheon. Thank you.
Thank you.